This is the book of 2 Peter, chapter 2 and verse 5. And spare not the old world, but save Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to the one true power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak, Wadash. Yahweh is the Most High God, and Yahweh Shai is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. The Rakak, Wadash is the Holy Spirit in the Paleo Hebrew. And double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well through the Spirit, teaching His word and believing His word, Lord willing, that they can continue to endure and be sincere. In a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect that are scattered four corners of the earth, teaching His word and believing His word in the same spirit that they endure and be sincere. And shalom to the Akwatyum that are believers of the faith in His truth, Lord willing, that they can continue to endure and be sincere and continue to pursue to be a loving and silent and virtuous wife. The Lord willing, the Most High have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. The title of this lesson, through the Spirit, I might call it, You've Been Warned, but you took it as a joke. You've been warned, but you took it as a joke. This is 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 5 in the NLT. And the Most High did not spare the ancient world, except for Noah and the 7 others. And his family, Noah, warned the world of God's righteous judgment. So God protected Noah when He destroyed the world of ungodly people with a vast flood. You know, and the Lord has His true men, you know, talking about the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the true men that are being sincere and enduring, right? Who really is predestined to get this and predestined to teach and come into their lot. They've been teaching and warning us to get ourselves right. They've been teaching and bringing forth the prophecies, the parables, the dark sayings for the nation of the 12 tribes of Israel, descendants of Jacob, better yet, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and bringing forth prophecy against Esau and the other nations. Lord willing, this is edifying to the hopeful elect, whoever you may be. So let's get into the point of this lesson.
That's why the average person won't hear a word about the story until it's obvious to just about everyone. And by then, it's going to be too late. Yep. In the months ahead, central banks around the world are planning to go digital. Many of the legacy banks you've heard of, where you probably even keep your money, like Bank of America, Chase, Citi, Wells Fargo, they're about to be reset, overhauled by a new type of technology called fintech, which is short for financial technology.
Yeah, can I ask you, what exactly does that mean for the banks and all of us, you and me?
Essentially, it means the function of our banks is about to change. They probably won't raise public suspicion about it by changing the signs on your bank's branches, but according to my sources, the Federal Reserve will soon own all the banks, and your local branch, it's simply going to be like a licensee of the Fed. In other words, the banking infrastructure is being rebuilt from the ground up, and very few Americans are aware this is even happening. We are right on the verge of a once-in-a-generation opportunity to profit by investing in the companies that are building out the architecture for this massive shift. This reset will be a huge...
Not a small. The CEO of Bank of America, not a small bank, said they don't want cash, they want an all-digital future. Here's the CEO of Bank of America.
We want a cashless society. It costs us $5 billion for checks and cash to move around our company.
You want a cashless society?
We have more to gain than anybody in a sense from a pure operating cost. So we're driving it, and the cost will come down, and everything's happening, and the costs are already very low. It's very efficient, very little fraud.
When you go into a cashless society, that means everything is credit and debit. There could be errors, there could be glitches. One day you're rich, the next day you wake up and you're broke digitally. As soon as you don't need cash, that means everything you buy, everywhere you go, everything you do is known. Now, for a guy like me, which is near angelic, I'm not buying anything I shouldn't be buying. I'm not doing anything I shouldn't be doing. But that's not where it ends. See, where it ends is they decide that you shouldn't be going to, let's say, Hawaii. Next thing you know, you're You can't buy tickets to Hawaii. There's no way you can get there using your digital currency. They say you've had enough meat, you've used enough gas, you have too many cars, you shouldn't be using that much gas, you shouldn't be leaving that kind of carbon footprint. So literally your card will stop working at the gas station mid-month because they've decided. So again, I think a cashless society is something to be feared. Cashless society is something that you do not want under any circumstances. As soon as they get rid of cash, man, it's over, guys. It's over.
Spend the money now, get it out of your bank account while you still can, quickly and easily, and try and bring your balances down to a level where you're not going to be too worried if they tell you you're bottlenecked and you can't move it into the new currency.
You mean money in the bank, correct? Don't keep too much in the bank.
Yes, exactly. If we have a reset, we have a crisis, and suddenly they close the doors and they say the whole economy is run on the central bank digital currency, but you're bottlenecked. You can't now move the old currency into the new one. The old currency is effectively either defunct today or it's going to be withering away. You want to have less of that old currency left, or whatever they don't convert for you.
We can really scare the you-know-what out of the global population, and we can gain control. We can start doing things like vaccine passports, and we can restrict your travel. I mean, people ought to be very concerned, because now what are we going through? A potential bank crisis? Be very concerned about a central bank digital currency, where they can just turn on and turn off your ability to purchase certain goods based on your social credit score. That's what happens in China. Do we want that in the U.S.? I think there's certainly people, the technocrats in the U.S., that would like to see that. And with this banking crisis, all of a sudden we're insuring every deposit, no matter how large. Start asking some questions. Be skeptical.
This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. That beast is talking about Rome. Rome healed, and we're in the time of Rome 2.0. And they're pushing the same thought process. First starting with money. And I'm going to see if I can go get some information on that, just to prove Rome. Let me see. Lord willing, I can get it. Okay. This is dealing with the Roman Empire faced many money problems, including inflation, debt, and a lack of precious metal. When you deal with the debt, Roman Empire had a large debt in 60 BC due to a professional army, threats from the Germans, right? And Iran holding a large amount of Roman debt. Lack of precious metals. The Romans ran out of gold and silver mines, and no more precious metals could be plundered from enemies. Taxation. The Romans levied more and more taxes on people to sustain the empire, right? And America is known for taxing. Bank runs. When senators called in all debts at once, people had to sell their land and assets to repay their loans. This caused deflation pressure on the economy. Reduced trade. Hyperinflation, high taxes, and worthless money dissolved much of Rome's trade. And right now, the dollar is becoming more worthless, more useless. This is Rome 2.0. As a side precept, if I may, before I continue in It says, and it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world would be taxed. And this taxing was first made by Cyrenius was governor of Syria, and all went to be taxed, every one into his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea, and unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary and his espoused wife, being great with child, which was Hamashiach Yahushai. So it was great taxing even in the time of Yahushai. You know, it's a lot of history when it comes with Esau, man. But now going back to the point, Revelations 13, and a lot of people look at it, even if we have a regular digital currency, a regular digital system, when they start to implement this MARK, which in order to go digital, eventually is going to go to that, so that they can track where money is going, where is it coming from. Drug dealing, strippers, right? All of that is going to be examined on all aspects, because they're going to want their hand in everything. But that is the sign fully of the end of their kingdom, right? Because the new world order just goes into to establish something new. So you have to put done away with the old system and bring forth the new system. So Revelations 13 verse 15, it says, he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, which is Rome, right? That the image of the beast should both speak, right? And beast, even when we go into Daniel the 7th chapter, they used beast, animals, but those beasts was the example or the symbol of an empire ran by men, right? And it's a precept, I believe, in either the 4th or the 3rd chapter of Ecclesiastes. In men are looked as beast, right? Just because I quoted it, I'll go to it real quick. We want to fact check. Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Verse 18, it says, I said in my heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that God might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts, right? That they are beasts. That's just an example. But now when you go into the word beast, it can mean king, kingdom, or a power, or really a political power. It goes in the same as a horn, which we see the little horn in Daniel. You see it on the 7th chapter and the 8th chapter. The 8th chapter is dealing with the Greek captivity. The root, which is Antiochus Epiphanes, I believe the 6th. And then you have the little horn in the 7th chapter, which is America, which is Rome 2.0, right? The rebirth, which established to be in this system that we have right now to fulfill prophecy. So back to Revelations 13, verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship, right, obey, right, the image of the beast should be killed. So if you're not following the system, because even back then in history, Rome was killing people. The other day I was watching Caesar, Julius Caesar, the movie of Julius Caesar on YouTube, and he was conquering Gauls, right? And of course, if they didn't yield to their system, they're not Rome, they was going to become slaves. And a lot of those slaves didn't want to be under subjection under them. So guess what? They put them to death. Especially if you're not paying your taxes. When you read the book of the Maccabees, Israel started to get taxed, but then certain decrees like Demetrius started making little deals with them and said, hey, look, I'm not going to tax you, Taxing was in history, right? So If you don't worship the image of the beast, right, which is Rome, right, you should be killed. Verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now, to get certain words, when you go to Ezekiel 9:4, that's a spiritual mark. It's not going to say charagma, right? And you can go look that up for yourself, Ezekiel 9:4, and go to the blue letter and go to the homology of the word M-A-R-K in that verse, right? This is Revelations 13:16, and this is what M-A-R-K is. This is what it is.
Strong's G 5480, charagma, charagma.
Charagma, right? And it represents a stamp, an imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as a badge of the followers of the Antichrist. Now, even in history, when people were slaves, to see who you were owned by, they would brand you, you know? So let's just himmy it down and just think. I just showed you some videos on them talking about cashless society, so on and so on. All of us is using phones. You can buy stuff right online. Some of us can go to certain stores and do Apple Pay, where you just tap your phone. You got Whole Foods. You got certain cities that people use palm recognition or face recognition. They pay for their food. Fingerprints, you know. Technology grew. Anybody that has a simple mind saying, no, that's not it, then that means you don't have the capacity to comprehend what the hell is going on in society. We're in a technology society, and what I can do is, let's see. Let me look it up. Okay, this is for the year 2024 is anticipated to be sufficient for the growth of software development, driven by several key factors. Firstly, the increasing adoption of advanced technology such as AI, machine learning, cloud computing, and creating new possibilities. What? So now they're talking about technology growing, right? Let me see something. Okay. Now they're showing digital technology is the use of electronic devices, tools, and systems to store, process, and transmit data. It includes a wide range of technologies such as computers, smartphones, software, application, internet, virtual, artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain. Digital technology works by encoding information into binary code, which is a combination of zeros and ones. Computers then process the code to perform calculations and execute commands. The results are decoded back into a human readable format. Digital technology can be used to increase employee productive or sufficient. For example, a cloud platform like Microsoft 365 or Google Dot allow users to work on mobile phones. Digital technology has a sufficient impact on society, including online shopping. Online grocery shopping is becoming more popular than consumers. Cashless transactions. Cashless transactions are gaining popularity. Remote selling. Remote selling is working well in business to business transaction. That part right there, cashless transactions, is gaining more popularity. So let's see. Okay, digital payments are transactions that move value from one payment account to another using a digital device or platform without the exchange of cash, just like Cash App, PayPal, right? Just those things, even more, right? Where we could transfer money from one bank account to another one without physically going, right? They are also known as electronic payment, e-payments. Digital payment can be primary or fully digital. Some examples of digital payments includes bank transfers, mobile money, QR codes, credit, debt, or prepaid cards, e-check, mobile wallet, digital payment apps like Apple Pay or Google Pay, cryptocurrency. Digital payments are becoming more common in everyday life, right? That's why there's no way that any man or any woman can argue about talking about an M-A-R-K, a mark going in you, to make a new, right, a new payment, because this is going to be a new system. If it's a new world order, it's going to be a new system. Back then people was using gold. When they upgraded the system, when they established this America and established their little system around the world, they started making money, making paper transactions, right? And gold and all of that went down, and they say the dollar is up, or the dollar is better, or is backed up, however that they consume, right? But money became a new transaction for us on this side. Some businesses are already cash free and only accept digital payments. Digital payments are considered to be faster, safer, and more transparent than cash. They also often have advanced security features such as encryption and multi-factor. Let me see anything else. And then you got another one that's more digital, where women or even men got food stamps, and you got cash assistance, right? And of course you can go to ATM and take that out, but that's money in there. Let's see. I thought that was going to tell me something. Hey, I just keep seeing digital payment is becoming more popular, right? So back to Revelations, the 13th chapter, and just going to read verse 17. It says, "In that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name," right? In the number of it, the 666 go hand with the M-A-R-K. It goes into a stigma. When you look up the word stigma, it goes into prick, it goes into mark, and it even starts to explain tattoo. Some people say, oh, that's spiritual. Esau don't have the spirit to be spiritual. Even on the left side, he's being used and manipulated on the left-hand side to move out the Most High's plan. To really be in the spirit is to be of this truth. You're possessed by demons, left side, unrighteous spirits that's moving out the acts of Yahweh Shema Shai. To fully be in the spirit is to live and walk in the spirit. Esau is not living in the spirit or walking in the spirit. That is a gift given to the righteous. The unrighteous is not moving in the spirit. They're moving in the flesh, So you have to understand that no one is going to be able to buy or sell without this M-A-R-K. They're just like right now. None of us can buy anything. Like, say if you have no cash in your bank, you got a credit card, but you have no cash, right? And some banks will let you overdraw and you can pay it back. So now say if you don't have a bank account, you're not going to be able to buy anything if you don't got no money. Now say if you got a bank account and if you are already did over withdraw, and then you try to swipe your card, you ain't going to be able to buy it. They're going to say, hey, look, you ain't got no funds in there. So how can you get that if you don't got no money? Now, in some cases, you gonna steal. Some of these stores is not just gonna I'll let you go for $4. You could just pay me the next time you see me, unless it's your homie at a corner store, but I highly doubt it. So I'm just using that as an example. When it comes to this M.A.R.K, they're gonna be able to track people's funds way more sufficient. And we seen in the one video, he said if they ever go cashless, that is gonna be a scary problem, because right now, you got the World Economic Forum that wants to go fully digital. They don't want to have paper money, physical money. They want to be able to control the transaction. But you can let that go over your head. I'm not here to force anybody. But let's get into the rest of the point of this lesson, and then I'm going to let you guys go. This is 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 5 again, right? And I'm going to read the NLT. It says, and God did not spare the ancient world except for Noah and the seven others in his family. Noah warned the world of the Most High's righteous judgment. So God protected Noah when he destroyed the world of ungodly people with a vast flood, right? And the men of the Lord on this side is warning daily. Well, you have to. Job chapter 22, verse 15 and 16. Hast thou marked the old way which wicked men have trodden, which were cut down out of time, whose foundation was overflown with a flood, right? They're marked, but guess what? Even in this time, let's get Ecclesiastes 3 and 15, the NLT. It says, what is happening now has happened before, and what will happen in the future has happened before. Because God makes the same thing happen over and over again. Just like our deliverance, right? A lot of us, of course, we want to get beamed up. But you have to know that it's going to be a second wilderness on the side. So just because we get beamed up, the Lord is still going to test, because there's going to be some rebels. When all hell break loose, when we're sent into the wilderness, it's going to be all hell break loose. Because then we have a deliverance with Moses. We're going to have a great deliverance with Yahushai, and we're going to be brought back down, right? And it's going to be rebels in the midst, you know? You got to think of Isaiah 30 and 30 verse 1 and 2, you know? Or back in Exodus, when they was in the wilderness, and they was thinking of all the onions and all the delicious little foods that they was eating in Egypt, right? This is why you want to grow in the faith as much as you can now, right? It's very important. Getting beamed up, I highly doubt any one of us is going to be taking our Bibles with us, you know? So really, your faith got to be intact now. You got to be sure about this, right? Because the Lord is testing the elect. He really is testing the righteous. They're tried as gold. You 2/3, you've been tested. The 2/3 already failing. They're going to already fail. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Now we're in the flesh. You know, the Lord closed that door and sealed it. You know, us being in the flesh and hearing that crying, who was it? Noah probably would have opened up that door. The Lord sealed it, man. He was able to go to the top of that boat and see people floating, babies and all of that, man. When you read what's on the screen, meditate, hold on to it. Noah warned, they laughed, flood came, his door was shut. What even motivated me to do this lesson, it's multiple people on social media talking about a flood. They're talking about the hurricane over here. And then the sister said, yo, they creating these joints, man. In some cases, Esau is messing with the weathers, right? But I had to uplift Yahweh Bashima and exalt him, because sometimes we give Esau and these nations too much credit. When you go to Isaiah 29, verse 6, the Lord is visiting us with these storms, these tempests, these pestilence, and these fires. right? Sometimes the Lord would put a spirit on Esau to bring forth a pestilence, you know? But we first have to give the credit towards Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You've been warned. Everybody ignoring, making fun of us, talking sideways, and then even more, it be your own family. When you go in the scriptures, Yahushai wasn't even accepted in his own country, his own town, or even in his own house. But elsewhere, outside his hometown and place, he was accepted, you know? So you have to know, even your own family ain't going to even accept this truth, man. And it's going to hit you. You want to fight hard to get them in. But you fight to get them in by being a light yourself, by striving in the bosom of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Maybe that light might shine on them. But if it don't, the Lord had chose them in their delusion. We can't force nobody in this. You could just bring forth your light. You don't have to force this truth on nobody. You know, just be the light around them. But some things is gonna vex your spirit, and this is where you have to have the strength to endure that vexation. You know, and know that you're chasing a bigger cause, a better cause, which is pressing towards the mark, right? Pressing towards the Mashiach Yahushai. Right? This is Hebrews chapter 11, verse 7. It says, by faith, Noah, being warned of God of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith. We need to have faith and prepare your ark, right? Which is really that chariot, right? But you're preparing your deliverance, right? You know, you gotta choose which direction you want. You know, you gotta make your calling and election sure, right? We're being warned through the men of the Lord. The Lord is working double time through the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the teachers, the pastors, the bishops, by pushing this word. You're being warned, man. We're warned through the scriptures, and those was prophets. Now the prophets is back, and it was a falling away. Now the Lord is allowing us to wake from the ashes, right? Let me get a side precept, and I might be bringing this out on another lesson, Lord willing. This is Baruch chapter 3 in verse 4. It says, O Lord Almighty, thou God of Israel, hear now the prayers of the dead Israelites. How he gonna hear your prayers if you dead? Even more, this is not talking about ancient Babylon, because in all the captivities before this one, we knew who we was. It was times where the descendants grew and they didn't know, but Israel as a handful knew who they was. In the Maccabees, you had some that fell away because they cleaved to the heathen, but majority of them knew who they was, right? So hear now the prayers of the dead Israelites and of their children, which have sinned before thee, and not hearken unto the voice of their power. For the which caused these plagues cleaved unto us, right? Let's get a precept to line with that. So the dead Israelites, what is that? Revelations, the 11th chapter, and go into verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified, right? Sodom, this is that America. America is spiritual Sodom, right? The LGB 123 Sesame Diddler crew. Then Egypt for the rigor bondage, the affliction that we deal with the physical, and even more, they're afflicting you mentally, financially, right? With the taxation, even more when they push forth with their new mark system, right? Verse 9, and they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in the graves. That goes into the 359 years when the start of America, the physical captivity. The Lord woke us up a little after that 359, going into like the 1950s, the beginning or late 1960s, where the truth or the knowledge start to increase, like you see in the book of Daniel, the 12th chapter. And being dead is being dead from the neck up. You're eating this word where it goes into your other loins, but the main loin that you're feeding is your brain, your heart. And if you don't have the knowledge in your head, if you're not thinking about the Lord's name, you're dead from the neck up. Let me go back to that and see. Where is it at? I'm going to read verse 6. It says, for thou art the Lord, our power, in thee, O Lord, will we praise. And for this cause thou put thy fear in our hearts, to the intent that we should call upon thy name and praise thee in our captivity. For we have called to mind all the iniquity of our forefathers that sinned before us. Right? But first, the Lord had made a falling away. We had to come back and get the name, right? Because the Lord removed that name from us. Right? Because when we go back to Baruch chapter 2, it tells us in the 30th chapter that we in the land of our captivity, we shall remember who we are. So that shows even more on this side, we didn't even know who we were. We didn't know who we were. When you go to verse 32, it says, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. So we're going to remember who we are in verse 30 by first, hearing that you're a Hebrew Israelite. Then that's going to bring you all the way to when Moses was near the burning bush and you find out the Lord's name. First you probably saying Jesus or Yahuwah or Yahweh, whatever, and then you come across the ancient Hebrew, Paleo Hebrew, and you find out his name is Yahweh and his son is Yahweh Shai, right? And guess what? When times get hard, when times is rough, when you start losing faith or you want to grow in faith, you're becoming a teacher, you want to be stronger, eventually you're going to have that confidence in the spirit and you're going to call on the true name, which is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You're going to think upon that name. And you're going to think upon that name when it comes to this M.O.T.B, right? Because when we go to 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19 to 21, all these prophecies, this prophetic message came from the heavens, from the divine power. No man just did it on his own. This was all by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, right? So this is 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 20. Where sometimes were disobedient, when once the long suffering of God waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was a preparing, wherein few, that is, 8 souls, were saved by water. The Lord did it with a few, right? Let's get into the Apocrypha. 2nd Esdras, chapter 8, and we're going to start at we'll start at verse 2. It says, I will tell thee a similitude, Esdras, as when thou askest the earth, it shall say unto thee that it giveth much mould, whereof earthen vessels are made, but little dust that gold cometh of, even so is the course of this present world. There be many created, but few shall be saved. Just like in the time of Noah, just like in the time of Lot. You even had Abraham before the angels went to Sodom and Gomorrah, pleading, interceding to saying, hey, if it's 50, if it's 45, is it 40, if it's 35, is it 30? What if it's 10? Hey, if it is those, right? Oh, hey, guess what? I won't destroy it. He only found Lot And his 2 daughters. His wife too. It was supposed to be the sons-in-law, but they was part of the little corrupted sodomites, right? So really, Abraham was interceding for the family a lot, man. Those was the righteous out of that, and that was a few. During the flood, that was a few. In the time of Ezra, or the time of Elijah, because Elijah thought he was the only one, because Israel sought to kill him, right? But the Lord said he had 7,000 that didn't fall into, the philosophy of Baal or Baal, however, Baal Peor or Baal Peor, right? That's a remnant. That's the elect right there. And we already read Ecclesiastes 3 and 15. You can read it in the KJV. I read it in the NLT to make it smoother. It already happened before. The Lord is always dealing with a few. And that goes into the Ezekiel with the small sanctuary, So on this side, he's going to grab a small sanctuary and repopulate the earth again in the for this new heaven for the children of Israel, man. Because we're going to rule, So this is 1 Peter 3 and 19, by which also he went and preached unto the spirits in prison, right? Because when a spirit's in prison, hell is a condition. This is a prison. Is it this chapter? Okay, this is Ecclesiastes 3 and 16. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there in the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there, right? Under the sun is the place of judgment. This is prison. When you go to prison, what's prison? A place of judgment, for whatever you have done. And some people is in there, and they're innocent. So guess what? The righteous through the Spirit, they're innocent. But guess what? We're all filthy rags. We all fell. We all slipped, But it's by the grace of Yahweh Shema Shai, he allowed us to come back in this thing, right? I'll just read this. This is Judith chapter 1 and verse 14 and 15. It says, and Enoch also, the 7th of Adam, prophesied of these, saying, behold, the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai cometh with 10,000 of his saints, right? Which are the elect, part of the elect, to execute judgment upon all and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, right? Because guess what? The 2/3 is going to be touched, right? What is it? 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 17. Judgment is going to happen in the house of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And these other nations going to be touched, right? Of all your ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches, which ungodly sinners have spoken against him, right? Because when we went back to, when we looked at Revelations, the 11th, 8th chapter, how they crucify Yahushai, you got to know, with the image, that damn Caesar Borgia image, the names, you crucify him when you mocking the name, right? And again, the image, because that was pushed when Jake was over here in hard bondage, that image of Caesar Borgia, and they calling it Yahushai, and now they come up with a new name because Caesar Borgia died. Now they want to call it Jesus, right? All praise to Yahweh Shema Shai. His eyes is to and fro in the earth. This is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 6, whereby the world that then was being overflowed with water perished, right? So you have to know the whole earth, the Lord said he wasn't going to flood the earth again, but guess what? With fire, he's going to visit the earth, man. With fire, right? And let's get this and then I'll close. This is Luke, the 12th chapter. And I believe I'm going to 51. Or is it 49? Okay, 49, it says, I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will lie if it be already kindled, right? So Hamashiach Yahushua has come with fire, the laser beams, let alone the Lord is working through those missiles. Those ICBM missiles, he working through it. When you go to Isaiah 54:16, the Lord created the smith, the man that's making those missiles, and then he said he created the waster, which is these nukes, these missiles, these warheads. The Lord created them, man. You know, back then when Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed, the angels, the powers, they used the elements and created this type of fire, because it said fire and brimstone. These nukes, when they erupt in all chaos and those joints is sitting, it's going to bring forth fire and brimstone, right? This is why, you know, most of humanity, talking with the elites and others, they're going to be hiding underground, right? Because you're going to be just breathing in fumes, right? This is why you should have a desire to be of the elect, man. So I'm going to just drop down verse 51. Suppose ye that I come to give peace on the earth, I tell you nay, but rather division. For from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, and 3 against 2, 2 against 3. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, and the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother, and the mother-in-law against the daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law. You got to think how much more us on this side. You know, your son, your daughter, right? Your daughter-in-law, your son-in-law, right? If they're not growing in this faith, the Lord can be making them monstrous children. They might lose faith, right? And they might bump up against you when hell really break loose. Always have it on your mind. This is for the elect, right? So Lord willing, this is edifying again. Noah warned, they laughed, the flood came, his doors were shut. Guess what? The Lord is about to remove the men of the Lord off these highways and byways, and chaos is gonna come, and the door ain't gonna be open, right? That mercy door, that grace period is gonna be closed, and you ain't gonna be able to get in. Lord willing, this is edifying to the hopeful elect. Want to give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah, Kodash. And double honors to the elders, elder apostles of Great Millstone, who rule well through the Spirit, teach His word, and believe in His word. Lord willing, that they continue to endure and be sincere. And with that, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.